So today we're doing the Surreal 1-point or 2-point perspective hallway Photoshop project that's going to be worth 100 points. The objectives that I want you to learn today is understand what 1- and 2-point perspective is, incorporate surrealism into your digital project, create a digital project that has 1- or 2-point perspective, and acclimate yourself with a dodge and burn tool to help you make shadows and reflections. And if need be, use a polygon and lasso tool to drag objects into composite images. So what is surrealism? It's basically an idea that if traditional art were an expression of the conscious mind, then the unconscious mind could also be captured. So in layman's terms, it's painting or creating art from your dreams. Surrealists tried to join fantasy with reality. They tried to shock the world. And so before there was Lady Gaga, there was Salvador Dali. Here's some examples of some of his work. This is the Persistence of Memory. I'm sure some of you have seen this painting before. It's also known as the Melting Clocks painting. There's another one, Mae West. I kind of like this one because there's a painting within a painting. You see a picture of an actress, but you also see like the curtains make up the hair, and then there's a little couch that makes up the lips. There's another one. It's about World War II. I think this one is too. Here's his take on the Last Supper. So some examples of surrealism that I found on the internet. They kind of look crazy and out there. They look like they're painted real or created real, but they would never exist in real life. So here's some examples of those. Kind of like this one. This guy's, trying to clean up, and God's not having any part of it. This one's pretty cool. If only we could age that way. It's a unique way to think about a waterfall, or to fall asleep at the beach. Here's a very intimate painting. We have these two going out here. We got these two making out. These two about to make out. We're gonna go over here, probably make out and get eaten by these mako sharks. All right, here we have a really, really cool pencil drawing that I like. It's kind of very organic. And then here's a Photoshop thing of like a little fairy or something going on right there. He's a very dark and macabre drawing that I also like. It's almost kind of like Tim Burton style. This is very visceral. Definitely evokes a feeling, pain and disgust. Another cool kind of dreamlike drawing. Swallowing pride. It's also got a unique 1-point perspective. 1 point being right here. This guy kind of looks like Salvador Dali. Of course, cereal bowls were this big. That would be pretty cool. So breaking down 1-point perspective, you have what we call the vanishing point right there. And then all the leading lines. You can see these are the leading lines right here in red. Must point. Must, finish at the vanishing point. So here's an example of a 1-point surreal hallway that was finished, that I created. And you can tell it's surreal because this would never exist in real life. Here's another one with three-eyed Morgan Freeman. Now, 2-point perspective is basically there's a point over here and then there's a point over here. And if you split this in half, all the leading lines on this side point to that point, and then all the leading lines on this side point to that point. And this is a finished work of art by a former student. And then here's another one. It's like a body farm. Skin. Also kind of dark. So the requirements: you must use color effectively to indicate mood of the composition, must have at least 3 Figure/objects placed in the composition must have at least one layer that uses layer styles, which is, underneath layers. And I'll go over that in the video further. Must have at least 15 layers. Must use the burn tool on bottoms of walls to create shadows and depth. And must include digital signature. If you don't have one, just use the type tool and type it in. So to start, you're going to need to go to Collage and find the 1 and 2 point perspective Photoshop link. And you're going to want to download this second file right here. So you're going to click on it, hit download, and you'll see it pop up right here. Once you see that, click on it so it opens up in Photoshop like this. Now when it opens up in Photoshop, you have 4 choices. And you can just figure out which one you want to do by turning on the eyeballs and then turning them off. So you have this 2 point perspective, and there's 1 point, 2 points right there. You can do this 2 point perspective. You can do this 1 point perspective, or you can do this 1 point perspective. So there's 4 to choose from. I just want you guys to understand the concept of perspective and 1 or 2 points, so you can see the difference between this one and this one. So just for today, I'm going to do this one, this 2 point. And so I don't really need these other layers, so I'm going to highlight them and then hit backspace on my keyboard for each one that I don't need. And so I want this one. So much like the copy and paste project that we did, you're going to be using the magic wand tool and the zoom tool. Maybe not so much for this one, but maybe for the other ones if you chose ones that have tiny spots. So we'll do this one right here. So it's basically you're going to click on one of these boxes and make sure you're on this layer, not the background layer, the layer 1. And then you're going to go look up something to do on Google. So to make it surreal, I'll look up, let's look up water. And then go to images. Okay, that's what's a good one. I say this one's pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to right click, copy image, go back to Photoshop, go to edit, paste special, paste into. This is all pretty standard stuff. Now when you go to edit free transform, everybody has to do this. You'll see the box pop up. To get this to fit perfectly in that box, you're gonna have to hold down Control. So I'm holding down Control on my keyboard, and then I'm going to take this marker and move it up to there. I'm still holding down Control, and push this one down to there, this one down to there, and this one down to there. Make that a little better. So once you get it where you like it, you hit enter. Then you're going to go back to the 2 point background. Choose a different, maybe I'll do fire this time. Fire. That's a good one. I'll choose this one. So I will copy this here. Notice I'm on the 2 point background with my magic wand. Hit edit, paste special, paste into. You do edit free transform. Shortcut is Control T. Now after the box pops up, you're going to hold down Control, and again match up these points where they go. Now sometimes you won't be able to see it, so you just have to guess. So I'll move that there. So it's probably right about there. And then you hit enter, and then go to the 2 point background, and then you just keep repeating. Now I'll kind of speed ahead and fill this in really quick, and then we'll talk about the next requirement that's expected of you. Okay, so when you get done, one of the things that you need to do is make sure you have two pictures over top of each other with the layer style. Now what does that mean? I will show you. So here we have the 2-point backgrounds layer selected. You can see all the layers I use, and as you can tell, when I was putting this together, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just using any kind of thing that popped in my head. I used some personal photos. I looked up some real photos. That was basically surrealism. It'd be cool if you had a theme, like maybe you could do a bunch of your favorite movies in all these, or scenes from your favorite movies, or your favorite musical artists. I don't know. Favorite sports teams. The sky's the limit. I was just doing random stuff, which is fine too. So here we are. I'm on the 2-point background. I'm going to select this wall again because I kind of don't like the way it turned out. So I'm going to put another image on top. So I looked up screening. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to edit, paste special, paste into. And you can't see it because it's behind that one. So when you paste it into, you're going to want to drag it all the way to the top of the layer window so you can see it. You'll see now it's on top. Then you're going to go to Edit Free Transform, and holding down Control, make sure you hold down Control. You're going to grab each one of the corners and take it to the corresponding corner of what you selected. You get to zoom out, which is Control minus, just to see this a little bit. So there we have that. You hit Enter to get rid of the transformation. So you can see it, it's right there. Now what you're going to do is, where it says normal, I want you to select dissolve, and see how it's highlighted blue around there. And if you hit down the down arrow key on your keyboard, you will cycle through some layer styles that will interact with the original wall. So some of these, okay, some of these look weird, some look kind of, just bizarre. So I kind of like this one, so I'm gonna keep that one. That's what a layer style is. It's basically two layers on top of each other, and then you use one of these to select one. So now that you did that, go back down to the 2-point background, select the background because that still needs to be colored. And for this one you can do just a simple background. I would do something like outer space or clouds or something to that effect, and make sure it's very, very big so you don't lose any resolution. I'll choose this one, copy this, edit, paste special, paste into. You won't see it because it's behind all this, so you have to edit free transform, and you just drag this there and up to there. That's floating in space. Now the next step is you're going to want to add, I believe it was what the requirements were. If I can go back here. Go. We did this. Must have at least 3 figures/objects placed in composition. So what we're going to do is, after we get this where we like it all, because I kind of like it all, we're going to merge all these layers. So hopefully you're satisfied with it. If there's any changes you need to make, you might want to find which layer it is and delete it. But if you're happy with it, before you add the objects, you're going to want to merge all these. So I selected all the layers. You can see I'm at the very, very bottom, layer 1. Scroll up to the top. I'm going to hold down the shift key. Holding down the shift key, I'm going to select the top layer. You can see they all get selected. I'm going to right click, merge layers. You can see it's all one layer. It's nice and neat. So now we're going to add our objects in. Now when you look up an object, it can be figure, person, animal, car, whatever. Whatever you do, you go to Google, look up, say for instance, lion, space, PNG. So say I want this one. Now you know it's a good one if you see the gray and white checkerboard background, which we do. If it doesn't have that, like this one, you don't want to save it. You want to save it, not copy. I repeat, save image as, not copy. Save image as, save it somewhere where you know where it is. I'm going to save it in the downloads folder. Save it. Now when I go to file, open, because I'm going to open it up. Go to downloads. There it is. Open it up. You see the background's already been cut out. I'm going to use the move tool. Drag this down so I can see both of them at the same time. Click on this with the move tool, move it in, and let go. And now I'm going to edit free transform that, which is Control T. Well, let me Control T. There you go. This does not have to be in perspective because it's just a regular object. So once you put it like that, you fit on the screen. You see he's floating around. I got the move tool. You can move him in. Now this is where you want to do the shadow, and you can do this one of two ways. You can go back to your background layer, get the burn tool, which is right here. Burn tool looks like a pinch. Go up here. You want to make it soft. You can change your size of your brush to, relate. You probably want, about 30%. And you just brush a couple strokes underneath it like this so it gets a little darker. Now you can do that, or you can do this. I'm going to undo all that. I'm going to, obviously you probably want to label your layers. Lion. Going to duplicate this. Just line copy. I'm going to choose the bottom one, which is the original one. Go to edit, free transform. And this is where I hold down the control key. I'm going to drag this one down to here, and this one down to here, like that. Make sure it matches up a little bit. You guys see that? Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that. You can see I kind of have like a little shadow, and I want it to match up a little better. So edit, free transform, hold down control. Maybe even warp it, which is right up here. You guys see that? And then you can drag that to there. Drag that down so it matches better. There you go. It's kind of close. Alright. Once you get it kind of close, hit enter. Now it looks more like a reflection right now. If you wanted it to be a reflection, all you had to do is, turn down the opacity a little bit like that so you can see through it a little bit. If you want to make it a shadow, you're going to want to go into blending options. And you can change it to any color shadow you want. Most shadows are black. Change that to black on color overlay. Click OK. And then turn the opacity down so you can see a shadow like that. Just depends on how dark you want your shadow. You're going to add 3 of these. Obviously you can add more. I'll add more. And then to add your signature, you click on T and choose what font you like. I'll just choose my go-to, which is Impact. Click once and then type in your name. You want it all caps. And you can go to edit, transform. You want to make it bigger or smaller? I don't. I'm going to hold down control and make it italicized a little bit. Hit enter. Now if you want to make it a watermark, here's what you do. You go into blending options, right click, blending options. Just do a drop shadow, stroke, bevel and emboss. Make the stroke, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3. Notice I'm just clicking on them. These should be fine. If you want to see what they do, you make that a little darker. And then you turn down the fill to 0. So now it's see-through, like that. So view, fit on screen, and then I'll add the next 2 objects on there to finish.